Potterheads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about the Chem-Baroness, Renata Glasc, who was released just February 17th, 2022. She's almost a year old.
Ooh, so she looks good for her age.
How many weeks old is she? What's the... She's going to be walking any day now.
Well, now I can't talk about how hot she is.
It's like dog years, you know. It's like
Yeah. That's Chem-Baron years. Actually, it's kind of like Zon years, really.
Honestly, right? I was waiting for the twist because she looks like, you know, like a grown woman, not like in her 20s. She looks like in her 30s or 40s, right? And I was waiting for the twist to be like, she's 19 years old. Like, man, Zon really aged her. Is she okay?
Those Zon girls looking haggard, man.
Vi must be like 11.
What's she sound like?
Okay.
Okay.
She's got get a job.
That was her high noon skin, which is inevitable at some point.
Sorry.
Right? No, I love it. I hope that's her. Hire Mark to do high noon Renata Glasc.
Sure, fuck it, right?
Okay. I prefer my takeovers to be hostile. Indulge me.
Very good, very
Thank
good.
you.
And I'm gonna try and get some of this this mask effect.
Oh,
since
God.
Oh, I couldn't do that. Oh, Jesus.
Hard work is its own reward. No, it's the money.
It's great.
There was an
Thank
attempt,
you.
right? Like, you know. I appreciate it. You went the extra fucking
Spot
mile.
on.
I'm a little bummed because I feel like this is a voice I could do a lot better if I had just practiced it at all instead of just listening to her. But it's
Probably.
okay.
You know, it's good, but it's not like there's a bunch of crazy ass voice work. It just sells nicely
No.
for her character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some I guess prim and just the Zonite Camille for sure.
Sure.
Is what she sounds like.
Yeah, I guess so. I feel like it's been so long since I've heard Camille now. I love Renata. I was really excited to get into her lore because I love playing her. I've been getting her in ARAMs every once in a while. And I liked her at first. She was one of the only champions in a long time that I saw her kit and I was like, okay, I want to play her. Like a lot of champs these days are not really my style. But she is so fun to play. I really love her.
Well, I mean, we played pretty recently, and you had a couple of fucking killer ults where it's just like, stop. I know we were losing, and it's just like, no, y'all fight each other. Fuck off.
I'll say her ult's very easy in ARAM. It's getting a good revive and a good stun because you can get a lot of 4-man stuns or whatnot. But you know, but anyway, she's a lot of fun. On her page, she has a bio and a short story, which is what we kind of expect.
Yeah.
From a new champion.
New champ.
Yeah. Did she have a release trailer or anything?
Yeah, but not like an animated one like a lot of people have. Like it was basically just
Here's
gameplay.
the kid. Yeah.
Oh,
She did have
bummer.
She did have a site, which was the Glasc Industries site that they put up for a little bit, which was kind of fun because it read very much like it reads kind of like reading any sort of tech company, almost like Riot's company page when you go and read it. So that's kind of fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a blast. Yeah. All right. Should I get into the bio?
Yeah,
Let's do it. By Dana Lurie Shaw,
Thank you.
who, quick tidbit, just left Riot in December. So
That's a fucking shame because I'm spoiler, I guess. I liked Renata's stuff, you know.
Yeah, me too. All right. Renata was a normal girl in Zon, or a Noral girl in Zon, which is what I accidentally typed. Her parents were alchemists who focused on healing medicine. They cured people for free, something Renata came to resent as she grew up hungry and envious of Piltover, particularly Piltover's Sun Gate Canal, which was used, or is used, to trade with the world of Runeterra. Renata, no good at alchemy herself, but she did prove to be a very successful businesswoman. At her suggestion, her parents started treating Zons like wealthier people so they could actually make some money. But they used that money to then develop a chemical formula that would save their sickest patients. I guess it did. It also had some pretty bad side effects, like making them suggestible or a little overly violent. I'm trying to imagine that so we live in the US. We get a lot of drug commercials here. Imagine that listed.
Side effects.
Someone might be able to get you to jump off a bridge.
Side effects of Glascarol.
You need to find someone to do that who can do that really fast talking. Or one of us. We just speed it up and post.
That's true. But then it'll sound like a chipmunk.
Yeah, it's true.
Mark will do it. His voice sped up probably sounds like a normal.
Just sounds like your voice.
So not to diverge, but we got this little goofy mic. I got Sarah a little goofy karaoke microphone for Christmas, and you have little voice modulators, and one of them pitches it up, and I do think it makes me sound kind of like you, John. If I say speak at the right thing.
All right, we're gonna be at your house this weekend. We're gonna have to.
Absolutely,
I need to see that in
it.
action. I'll record that. I'll post it on YouTube at some point just to get the Mark versus John voice. Okay, so Renata's parents continued to work on this formula, trying to get rid of the side effect, much to Renata's disappointment. Their success got the attention of Piltovan clans, and enforcers weren't hired. Enforcers weren't hired. To bring them down. I would think maybe Camille is involved in this, but they don't actually say. I don't know.
According to Renata's quotes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, they say enforcers. Camille's the only one we've heard of so far. So anyway, Renata's parents were killed, and she was left with a little bit of money, but the family name, which she used to get behind smaller operations and start networking, essentially. She did not work for free, but for money or favors. And Renata eventually started to take advantage of the poor younger people in Zon who were really smart but have nowhere to really learn or practice all their sciencey stuff. So she gives them that space and then sells all their shit, essentially.
It's an internship, right? It's work study.
Yeah, you're right. Which I don't know if Echo's ever mentioned in this. I mean, obviously he came out way before her, but I'm curious if Echo is aware of this, if he's ever considered it himself.
So, spoiler alert for the Zeri short story. Echo is aware of it.
Okay.
He's not interested.
I would assume he's smart enough to be no.
And what they don't specify here is that she also does some light imprisonment of people who need help, including Echo's parents. So he's especially not interested.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll kind of get into that in the short story. It's so dark because she's got an almost not really motherly approach to them, but I don't know, it's weird. Mother Gothel vibe for sure, where if she seems like she's doing them a favor sometimes, oh, have you seen your parents in a while? We'll talk about that in the short story. And it's oh, no, because of you. Maybe you'll get to see them soon, she's doing them a favor. Oh, it's pretty fucked up. She's great. Anyway.
By the grace of Glasc, you may see your parents.
Anyway, over the years, Renata became a Chem-Baron of sorts on her own, and when an accident messed up the air in Zon worse than ever, Renata had Glasc Industries give breathers to the people of Zon for free, which this earned all of Zon's loyalty. Not all of it, but a lot of Zon's loyalty here. And word spread to Piltover again, but this time shopkeepers started selling her products, which kind of seems like a really big deal from what we know about Piltover, the idea that they're taking products from Zon and selling them to their people. I would assume they wouldn't trust that.
Because you imagine you imagine a lot of that in the middle area where the Piltovans come down to the Zonite, blending area to get their augments and shit like that. But I feel like you don't see as much of that moving up past that.
Yeah. And they even kind of acknowledge that in the short story where she's oh, Chemtech. We'll talk about it, but the way she's talks about the Piltovan perspective on Chemtech is kind of a little interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, a little bit more here. This ended up being like, there's so much in this bio, like way more than I was expecting. Renata still wants to take over what she deems the most important thing around, though, the Sun Gate. And she's pretty sure she'll be able to do that someday because all of her products, both in Zon and Piltover, have a little bit of her parents' Chemtech formula inside that Renata can release whenever she's ready. Dun-dun-dun.
Which, man, that just upped the fucking stakes a lot.
Right?
Yeah, it's like the very last paragraph.
Yeah! What a day they're gonna have.
I like it.
When that happens.
I like it because it's all like
straight
very...
up like...
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go for it.
I was going to say Bond's super villain.
All right. We need a signal, like, or something like that. Whoever raises their hand goes first. I don't know. Anyway, Mark said Bond's supervillain, which I sure. I don't know anything about Bond. I'm so sorry. But that does sound about right. I know the laser between the legs thing.
Yeah.
That's something a Bond villain did, right?
I was going to say Scarecrow from the Batman movie.
Yeah, that too. Comic book supervillain's another one.
Yeah. Oh, it is very comic book supervillain. Like in the best one, Batman Forever. When the Riddler takes over their TV. You know, the best superhero movie ever created. Batman Forever. With Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're looking for a good superhero movie, you gotta go with Jimmy Carrey.
You gotta go.
He's never steered me wrong.
I mean, he's a villain in it. Val Kilmer's the hero, because when you think hero, you think Val Kilmer.
Did you see that green spandex that Jim Carrey was rocking? You gotta be heroic to wear that shit, in my mind.
Yeah, I really want to watch Batman Forever now. But anyway, you know, he did the thing with the TVs and took over people's brains. It was relevant.
No, yeah,
and a callback to last episode. It was funny.
Damn.
Get off my dick. All right, anyway, that's Renata's bio.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I thought it would have been funny if, like, when her parents were trying to kind of solve the, you know, the whole insanity problem that their poisons caused, or their medicines caused. It would have been funny if they just, like, kind of inadvertently caused some sort of, like, chemical reaction that triggered the apocalypse. Like that's how the Runeterra apocalypse happened. It's just like people trying to heal people in Zon.
They're trying so hard to be good.
Can never help Zonites.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
I mean, given how many world-ending threats there are in Runeterra, it would be hilarious.
It even takes out the void.
Aurelian Soul comes by. What the fuck happened here?
Holy shit.
It's gonna be like War of the Worlds. The Void's gonna come out and realize that the common cold can kill them, and
yeah.
You've never seen War of the Worlds?
I've read War of the Worlds.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I forgot it was a book. Who reads books? Gross.
Writes or reads anything, but
nothing. Yeah. Not us. Anyway, I did like Renata's bio. It's like really dense. Yeah. There's a lot in here. We're really going through heavy. Renata's life. I found her resentment really believable because she comes from these two people who are really, really generous, and they're just trying to save people in Zon, which you don't see a lot of. You see more people like Renata who are really bitter and wanting more to just take advantage of people to come out on top. And I find Renata, I mean, they say that she went to bed hungry. I think her parents really neglected her in favor of helping others, and I think that's what really built up her resentment. And yeah, I thought that was well displayed.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting to do this like right after Rel, because we had some opinions about Rel's backstory, and you know, this to me is like, in contrast, especially, it just works so much better. Like there is tragedy without falling into being, you know, edgy or kind of grim dark. You know, it's like you said, it's understandable, but it also doesn't try to make her into like a sympathetic villain either.
Yeah.
It's just
it
does kind of like what I think a good bio will do, which is like it really helps you understand this is what this person thinks and where they're at, and here's kind of filling you in on bringing you up to where they're at now. So yeah, it's like you said, it's an interesting depiction. I think it was interesting to me that she still did try to save them, because when they were killed by the Piltovan enforcers, they burned the house down, and she did try to save them. So she wasn't like a complete asshole from day one, which is also nice, right? Like that was probably the thing that cemented her becoming who she is now, which is kind of neat to see.
Yeah. Is believable. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, villains still have people that they care about. They're not the most heartless people in the world. And I think Renata, where she is now, she's become very callous and heartless, but it's not something that happened overnight.
Yeah.
And it's something that did start when she was a child and only grew. But she did try to save it. She lost her arm trying to save her parents.
She Savica'd it.
It's true. That's true.
Sure.
Well, I think that's some of the advantage of making her older, right? Is that you can have someone who's, when you see her as she is now, it's like, well, you said 40s. I was thinking maybe even early 50s, with kind of, because she's got some graying in her hair. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to, she's masked up.
A lot of gray. Yes.
Listen, I dye my hair.
Okay, sorry.
There's a lot of gray.
No fucking offense. I mean, no offense, but
okay.
whatever. She's older,
okay.
right? So it's like, instead of being a teenager, it's like it feels a lot more.
Middle-aged.
She doesn't have any kids, so it's where the gray comes from.
I started graying in like my mid-20s.
No shit.
I think maybe even earlier. Yeah, I started graying pretty early.
Me too. All the cool kids are doing it.
Sure.
Sorry, y'all are bullying me about my not gray hair again. You said never on the.
Hey, look at this
podcast.
natural brown-haired guy.
So always need a Mark.
Fucking nerd.
Mark with your no gray hair
And your deep, like,
sultry voice.
licoricey voice.
Hey, Sarah found a gray hair in there every now and then. Okay, does that make me cool yet, or like, am I weathered? I don't know.
No. You need as many as Rogue before you're cool.
Okay. One good streak.
Yeah, I mean, I think in regards to Rel, in comparison, Renata is older, so she has harnessed her anger and has directed it in a way that makes sense, whereas Rel's still a little bit, she's figuring that out, which makes sense, but it's just not done well.
Yeah. I mean, you can do the youthful thing too. Like you can have young characters. I'm not trying to say that. I just think that.
But no. I mean, that's what they all have. It's young characters. It is nice to have a character who's not like just a reckless, angry teenager, or like a rugged early 20-something who was a reckless, angry teenager and they accidentally killed a bunch of people, because that's mostly what we get.
Yeah, and not like
and
3,000
people that have
years
a
old.
clear end game. Like,
they do.
I
Yeah,
like
she wants to
villains with a
control the
clear
gate.
end game. Like, I don't know what the fuck the Black Rose's end game is still. How many times are they going to show up before we realize what their end game is? I like Renata has a nice clear end game. It's got like, it's not world impacting, but it is world, like, it will, I guess it is kind of world impacting, and that the trade will impact the world, but like, she's not trying to take over the world quite yet. She might be able to. I mean, if everybody starts buying her shit.
First
but
you get the Sun Gate, then you get the money. But I do like that.
I like being able to track her actions to her ability to do her end goal. That helps a lot, because sometimes we like, when the end goals are unclear, then the actions along the way just start to make less and less sense. Like, I don't know why you're doing this, because I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. Like, so I like that about her.
For sure. I mean, her being localized, and I think we'll see this when we get to like the Zeri short story a bit, is that it's doing what we kind of always want Riot to do, which is stop introducing and adding shit somewhere else and develop some of this crap you kind of set up. So it's like we've talked about before, it'll be great to have a Chem-Baron champion, and I think she's probably one of the best versions of a Chem-Baron champion we could have gotten, frankly.
Yeah.
And with some of the stuff they're setting up with Echo and Zeri, I don't know much about Zeri, but it's like those conflicts and them coming into contact with each other and opposing each other, it's like that all makes sense that they would run into each other and start to have these things sort of develop. So it's like, awesome. That's all we ever want, Riot.
Yes. And they like mention Echo. So I think sometimes that they maybe worry about is they're like, well, dropping a champion in this place that's already existed, how are they going to interact with the other champions there and whatnot? But you could just develop the champions that are already there more. So that's what they're doing with Echo, saying like, yeah, he knows she exists, he does not want to be one of her genius children, and his parents are in trouble because of her. That's good.
Yeah.
Gives us more good Echo content.
It progresses the Echo storyline a bit too.
That's great.
He's almost kind of doing more what his Arcane version is a little bit. Except he still has parents.
So I wonder. So now I'm thinking, because in Arcane we've debated that a lot. Are Echo's parents alive? Are they keeping his lore? His parents being kind of imprisoned by a Chem-Baroness. That could be something that's in Arcane and in the lore. They could have been in prison for a long time, and he fucking never gets to see them.
It is hard because like I still really like that Echo story where what they are imprisoned by is just the state of the world. It's just the system, man. There's not some antagonist.
It's their 9 to 5,
it's
except
not the
it's
Joker.
like they're 9 to 9.
It's just life has them kind of trapped, which is like I really like that.
I agree.
But don't get me wrong, I like Arcane too. Whatever. I don't want to get too much. I made my feelings known about it. So,
Yeah. I for the record, I was skimming the Zeri bit because Renata is barely mentioned. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I didn't want to read through the whole thing and spoil it for me. But the impression I got, too, was that the imprisonment was also, like, it was kind of a 9 to 5 type imprisonment.
Oh, okay. It wasn't
with just terrible work conditions.
Sure. Okay.
I also skimmed it. I don't know. I was reading words like hostages and like them being under armed guards and shit, which was like a little more like it read to me as like a very temporary thing rather than like, well, I guess I'll go be under armed guards where they're I don't know, they're building things and they're smashing them every time they make it and it doesn't work right. It's like it's the worst QA system in the world, really.
That's not how you do your job, Marcus.
I just break the fucking build every time it doesn't work. But so I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get to Zeri, probably.
In a year, we'll touch on that. In regards to Arcane, though, obviously I'd love to see Renata in Arcane, which I think wouldn't happen. But what I think could happen and would be really cool is if we see some Glasc Industries things, particularly starting in Zon and then seeing more up in Piltover. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, I have this a bit as fun facts too, but it's probably worth mentioning here is like the, how each region has its own icon, right? Yeah. The Zon icon is the Glasc Industries logo.
Oh.
I guess what you mean to say is that the Glasc Industries logo is the Zon icon.
Yeah.
Let's make that clear.
But yeah, they said they made that the logo because they wanted to position Renata as like the big bad in this whole region. Like she's the end boss of the whole region.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I mean, with that little supervillain bit at the end, that works for me. It's.
Yeah.
Again, I do like the concept of a more nuanced or intangible issue that's not like any one person. It's like, like I said, it's the system and it's cultural and it's something that can't be beaten by like, kicking Thanos in the nuts. But it is still nice to have there's.
Is that how they beat Thanos?
I'm pretty sure, right in the Infinity Stones, right?
I can't tell if you guys are joking because that is something Marvel would do.
I'm not.
You'll have to watch it and find out.
Yeah, I'm not actually seen.
I'm literally never gonna watch it, John.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same.
That's what the humor has become.
But yeah, I do like. So to your point, Mark, like I like. It's well set up where like even if she is the big bad, defeating her as the good guys, it really doesn't do anything.
No,
because like we mentioned, like there's still all the systems that created her are still in place in Zon, and they're still creating new Chem-Barons.
Yeah, and in fact, a lot of what she's doing has helped Zonites.
Yeah,
honestly,
that's true.
So if they take her out, like the mass that they get, and I don't know.
Yeah, regardless of her ulterior motives, like
she has helped a lot of people in Zon, not Piltover necessarily, but in Zon, yes.
It's absolutely true, and I like that aspect a lot. It's very All the King's
very
Men.
Silco.
Have you ever read that? Which I always loved. It's always one of my favorite pieces.
No, we already established I don't read books.
That's fair. That's fair.
Is there a movie? Is there a Batman movie?
There is, but it's
Jim
really
Carrey?
bad. It's got Sean Penn in it. But it's not good.
Okay.
But yeah, this idea of like is it like, was it, do the ends sort of justify the means, right? Like, because like you said, she is taking advantage of these kids, and at the same time, as we'll kind of see in the short story, she does afford them, and to another extent their families, the chance to live with security, right, that they otherwise would not have. So
yeah.
I mean, I like that though. I like her. That's why I kind of like her running in against like Echo and Zeri. I guess we'll see, because they all kind of like Zahn. Like, she cares for Zahn. She just hates Piltover more, which I kind of like. You know,
she does even have a quote saying that, like, you know, would she burn Zahn to smoke out Piltover?
Yeah.
She's kind of like, yeah, she would.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to kind of the superhero thing too, I want to know at what point people are going to realize that killing someone's parents is never going to give you the result you want.
I don't know. Did they not know about Renata? Did they not care?
I mean, I read it as she was still pretty young, so they probably didn't really care.
Yeah, I don't know how old. They never really specified,
Yeah.
but I assume she was like maybe a teen, but yeah.
But they would have never expanded into Piltover if not for her.
It's true. It is true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Also, the fact that Renata lost her left arm to save her parents, and Savika also lost her left arm. Are they related? And also, how did genetics work?
They just run into each other and both like,
It's like when
fire you.
It's like
Shimmer, you? I don't know, something purple.
also
that I made.
pinkish, magenta.
Yeah.
It's like frat houses. They have like a secret handshake, and the two arms just kind of like go nuts on each other.
If that's not in Arcane, I don't even want a new season.
Take it back, fix it.
I'm just kidding, please. I want season 2 of Arcane so bad.
Did you see the thing about like how this is going to be the last season with these characters, and it's going to be an anthology series?
No, that makes sense.
That's
though.
what we were hoping for.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
I'm
I'm
super
actually
on
kind of
board.
surprised we're even getting a second season of these characters.
No, I'm not. Not with the way they ended
Not with how
it,
it
but
ended. Yeah.
yeah.
I was kind of expecting it like, you know, I kind of thought of the series as like Jinx's arc.
Okay.
And
then-
despite the fact that we don't get to see like the fallout from the action, like Jinx's arc is complete. She has made
fair.
her final decision.
It's true. Well, I would love to talk about
we
Arcane
can't
more.
not. This is our first like Zahn or Piltover champion. I
Yeah,
feel like
in a
since
while,
Arcane,
yeah.
so we're like, yeah. I always liked Zahn and Piltover, man. Particularly Zahn. I don't think we've hit Zahn in a way that I haven't liked yet. But
Yeah.
anyway.
So there's the quote here. You kind of talked about the whole event that caused Renata to be kind of ingratiated with all the Zahn people. It said, like, while Glasc Industries flourished, Renata herself remained in the shadows, waiting for the right time to make her next move. That time came after a chemical accident sent poisonous fumes sweeping through the streets of Zahn, leaving the city in its worst state in decades. And I couldn't help but think to myself, like, the moment you were waiting for was a wave of chemicals sweeping through the street. Like, you just had to wait for next Tuesday.
It's a day that ends in Y, man. Seriously.
Was it Glasc or Glasc?
Oh, I have no idea. I always in my head pronounce it Glasc, but I'm sure she says it in her name a lot. And
She
just
does.
never
I thought
listened.
I was saying Glasc too, but I thought you'd said Glasc there, and I was
Oh,
Well, we just...
okay.
Glasc,
I may have said Glasc, but I
No,
didn't
it's
mean
okay.
it.
In my
I meant
head.
Glasc, I promise.
No.
Please
I didn't
no
know if
bully.
I'd messed it up.
Also, there was a line that said that after she rose to prominence, everybody wanted to sit next to her at the galas. And I mean, like, yeah, duh.
I mean, I want to sit on her lap at the gala.
Oh, man.
That's all I got for the bio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't
All
have
right.
much to add.
Yeah.
Next up is Right on Time, also by Dana Larisha.
Yeah, I like this one a lot too. This is Renata. She is prepping for one of those galas, specifically the novelty gala at Vasella, some clan Vasella, whatever. And she's going to unveil the new
Yeah.
decanter, that thing that floats around with her in League or whatever. But her assistant Maeve kind of brings some news that, like, hey, there's this other Chem-Baron, Middenstoke, who is making an air purifier. And it seems like that's a problem, some sort of threat to some other thing they're developing. So she's like, gotta go deal with this shit. It's like, great. I was getting ready for my gala. I've got all this shit to do. I'll fucking put out this fire. She kind of leverages this one guy, Basile. Whatever, Basile, we'll say.
Yeah, I think so, Basile.
Yeah. Who owes her money. He got a loan because his wife's leg needed a replacement. And she died from sepsis, and he's been drinking. And Renata knew that he was not going to be able to pay this back. So instead, she takes payment in, hey, you work for Stoke. It sounds like she even got him that job. You're going to get me the information I need, and you're going to get it now. Brings the plans to her. She brings that to one of her engineers, Eladat, who is one of those intern, kind of, has been working for Renata since she was 12. And Eladat is going to adapt this thing for Glasc Industries. And we do kind of note that, yeah, she's one of those kids, and Eladat has not really seen her family, but it sounds like they're living well, and the kind of implied threat is, as long as you're working for me and doing what I want, they'll continue to do well, and you might even go get to see them. She puts that to bed. She goes to present the decanter. She uses it to convince the announcer, who was kind of being a dick because she was late, to hand out her business cards. And then she's enjoying her wine on the balcony as she watches down below as Stokes' factory blows up, just way down below, to no one else's notice, because who gives a fuck? They're up in Piltover. Yeah, I did like that. That little mention there. This was all really great. I liked this.
And a very 24 vibe.
Yeah, the framing.
Sure.
Like
they were counting down.
Flashing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I liked
nice.
how Basile had a moment where he realized that she wanted him to get between her and the boss, and he was like, give me 4 days, I will get the money. He was instantly like, whatever you want, I'll do the money, please don't make me do this. He like did not want to betray his boss.
Yeah, before that he'd been like a week, 2 weeks tops. And then the moment, he realizes what's going on. 4 days, I got it.
4 days,
she's
I can
like,
do it.
Do you think I need money? Do you think I'll give a shit about, like, keep it? I don't give a fuck.
She never thought, she never cared about the money. She always wanted that favor.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this in terms of showing Renata through the way she interacts with people and the way she kind of perceives them. Because when she's dealing with Basile, for example, she regards him as like a worm, and he's like, oh, he's scuffing up the floor, he's all sooty, and just like kind of watches him writhe for a bit, and just like completely looks down on him. And
she's like, oh god, he's messing up the floor with his
nasty
tears.
Right.
Disgusting.
She knows he's like a single use resource, whereas like Eladat, while she might not care for her, in a traditional sense, like she's a resource who can provide ongoing benefit. So there's a lot of there's encouragement to make her feel like it's worth her time to stay. I wrote down the quote here from Basile too. It said, Basile, a worm of a man, grovels at Renata's feet, dirtying her office floor with his soot-stained tears. And again, I mean, like, yeah, I get it, Basile. Just groveling at her feet.
I like how we're both hot for Renata.
Rahata.
I was looking for it, yeah. But thank you for taking that leap.
Our third ever?
I'd tap that Renata Glasc.
Don't, it makes the fish upset.
No. That was like so dumb, but also just like such a pure, adorable little joke while we're talking about having a threesome with a supervillain. Don't the fishies.
Not the fish. Come on, man. You fuck Renata all you want. You leave them fish alone, man. Come on.
Oh man.
So I have another quote here that's going to lead to a nice little capitalism rant. But so it said, so when Eladat is working on this new device that's going to purify and replace the device that is being made by Midstock in the factory that she's about to blow up. She's like, hey, but when you do that, like, be sure to make some part of it necessary to replace, because filters are a great way to keep money coming in, and so find our version of that, but for this purifier.
Like planned obsolescence or whatever.
Yeah, that is planned obsolescence, folks, and that's capitalism. And I mean, in case you're curious, light bulbs from back in the day, they still work. There's no reason we have to replace our light bulbs. There's
John is in the dark right now. There is not a single light that works in there.
I refuse to pay for lights. There's been a light bulb that's been on for 24 hours for over 100 years.
Yeah. And that's why we don't change our filter for the air conditioner.
Ever.
Just kidding. We do
or our water filter.
I do change those. I will admit that there are some filters that I didn't realize that are in your house in appliances and that you need to change until TikTok shows me how much of a disgusting person I am sometimes.
Are you talking about like the lint trap on your dryer or like what? Like
No, that would start a fire. I know. Like mostly like the dishwasher. There's like parts that people are taking apart their dishwashers and cleaning them, and I was like, I've never in my life.
But every time I close
my dishwasher,
it water sprays.
It's cleaning the dishes, so why would I need to clean it?
That's why I don't wash my towels, because I'm the cleanest thing in the house.
I was going to say, what am I going to do next? Clean my towels?
No, it's not what it sounded like. I clean my towels.
What? Why? You get out of the shower, you wipe
John,
them off.
No.
Now they're the cleanest thing in my house.
You know what? The thing is, though, you don't clean your towels. I do, so...
Well, whatever he's doing is working. That's all.
It's weird. They're always so fresh and dry every time, so you clearly don't need to clean them.
Makes sense to me. I like that. I like when, God, what's her, Maeve? That's her assistant's name. She asked Maeve about some question, and Maeve just like shrugs. It's like, it's not her department. It's not my fucking job to know that or whatever it was. Yeah. I loved that.
I also like the dude who she convinced to hand out her cards by using the chemicals on him. I'm curious if he only handed out cards for like 2 seconds, because that's like how long her poison lasts in game.
Started just fucking fighting people, just going nuts.
Throwing the cards like fucking Gambit.
I'm Twisted Fate. The Twisted Fate exists in this world. And you said Gambit.
They said what?
Because Twisted Fate is just Gambit, but without a fun staff. He's even from the bayou.
Yeah, I know, right? That'll be fun to tear apart a little bit when we get to the teas.
Hey, we getting there.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Can I say also, just like a big shout out to Repo, the genetic opera. Just this idea of like having to get like pay like for your loans for your organs and shit. It's got Giles in it, folks. Go watch it.
I do know that movie.
It's not great, but it's fun. And yeah, I don't know if I have much else. I like just like the day in the life of Renata Glasc was a really fun story to tell, right? I think she's
just her boss bitching around.
She's hard because like she doesn't translate to an action piece, right? Which is makes sense that it's good that they didn't try and do that at all. Like it's like that's not going to work for this character. So do this shit. This is way more fun.
Yeah, that's not where her strengths are at all, and they realized that. But they really did, I don't know, her in-game play really feels a lot like this. It fits so well. I just love her in-game model so much. Her walk, her, like, strut that she does, the way she shoots things, and just, like, it's all very good. Yeah. She's designed so well to go along with her bio and everything. Yeah. She's also a champion that, I mean, we talk all the time about how we need champions to have connections. I would say she's not supremely connected to anyone, but it works so well for her. Like, it's just, I mean, she has people around her. She's never gonna, like, have a strong caring for anyone, I think, at this point in her life, right? Like, she's not gonna develop an emotional attachment to a person. Yeah. But it's done really well, and it's good.
Because connections to Renata are very different. Like,
yeah, they're an
any
exchange.
Connections for Renata are exchanges, and in her quotes, there are a lot of those related to other characters throughout Runeterra that she has like connections with through like a financial sense.
Yeah,
and like that's a Renata connection.
Yeah, it's just also it built up in a way that's really believable. Yeah, I don't know. But she doesn't have that, like, oh, I just don't trust people because I've been betrayed thing. She's like this, like, people are useful until they're not. Yeah. Kind of idea instead.
Yeah, I mean, you really hit the fucking nail on the head, with what you said, John, right? That, like, she doesn't have... I mean, you said it. I don't even need to, like, summarize what you just said. You nailed it.
Alrighty. Anyway, I think that's... oh, no, you have one more, the mention in the Zeri story.
Oh, yeah. So the Zeri story, The Unexpected Spark by Michael Luo, basically is just kind of like a day in the life of Zeri. Sees some of Renata's thugs chasing a kid, rescues the kid, asks the kid where he was going. He's like, oh, they got my parents. So she goes to rescue his parents in this factory, finds Echo's parents too. It's funny, she kind of drops in the middle of the factory, and all the guards there are like, oh, is it him? No, he doesn't have they don't have the hourglass on their face. Who the fuck is this?
Or expecting Echo's like, I'm not saving my parents.
Oh, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, Renata doesn't show up in the story, but they kind of mention her in the story. So.
Yeah, that they're working for her. I will say, I really skimmed it. I like Renata a lot. She makes me worried for Zeri because Renata is fun and interesting, and just from her design, Zeri does not drive a lot for me. Does not do a lot for me. So I'm really worried we're going to have a thing where the villain is really interesting and the hero opposite her is kind of boring. But we'll see. We'll see. That's
just Batman. Yeah. That's every Batman.
So true. She's like a quirky Batman. She's a manic pixie Batman.
She's Batman who had to work for her money.
Okay. Honestly, that does make her more interesting than Batman then.
And see what happens when you have to work for your money against the system? You get better and turn into a villain. It's real easy to stay positive when you've got fortune given to you.
It's fair. All right. So you got some cinematics there, honey?
No, I just wrote that because it's part of my...
although
I will mention the template I work off of from my notes. It's worth mentioning, though, the release trailer for her that has kind of just like in-game stats and stuff. Like, it's really well done. I feel like they knew they weren't getting a cinematic, and I feel like the team that did this was like, let's try and make this cinematic instead. But there are some pretty cool shots in it. Like the very last shot, there's a bunch of like slow motion shots of like her alting and like slow motion shots of teammates hitting each other with her like quoting over them like, yes, fine, and all this stuff. And then she like takes a hold, she does her dance where she takes hold of the decanter and they dance together in a circle, and it slowly pans up and there's the bodies of the other 9 people just in a circle around her while she's dancing with the decanter. It's pretty fucking cool, honestly.
I mean, I haven't watched it since it came out. I don't normally go back and watch those. Did you ever? It makes me think of like that Nunu one. Did you ever see when Nunu got his rework? They did something like that for him.
Oh, no. I don't know if I did.
Pretty good. I think you're right that sometimes those teams know that, like, well, we're not going to get an actual cinematic, so what can we do with someone who's rigged, right?
They understand the assignment.
Yeah.
I did not know about that first quote, but I did want to say real quick, just in vain of the cinematics, love her theme song. I was listening to it while I read her bio, and I really liked it.
Oh, I don't.
Which also goes real well with the gameplay stuff.
I highly recommend her theme song. It's going to be one that I'll put too much of it at the beginning and end of the episode because I like it too much to choose, which I did with Rel.
Dope.
So hopping into some quotes here. First one we got, a fun reference.
When did she say that?
That's her. It's one of her jokes.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's one health potion. What could it cost? 10,000 gold. And for those of you unfamiliar, that is an Arrested Development reference. I mean, it's one banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10.
You know what? She really has the same energy.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my god.
And now we've got a few champion-specific quotes here. 2 alchemists were murdered over 30 years ago, Camille. Do you remember them?
She left a note that says, "See."
Do you see?
Do you see?
Where were you when we needed you most, Jana?
Ooh, kind of fair though.
Hey, God bless someone for remembering who the fuck Jana is and what she does.
Right.
And that where she's from. You control the wind. You couldn't blow all the smoke out of
She was
Zon.
blowing
Come
all
on,
the
man.
fucking mist. Okay, she used all her blowing on the mist. I said it.
But they had fans for that.
You're right. They had fans.
They invented the
Hey,
fan
Glasc
just for
Industries
the
fans.
Oh, shit. I bankrolled your pistol's makers, Samira. Those guns are mine by right.
That makes me curious. Now I want to get to Samira, because we were talking about how, like, how's Samira gonna at all deal with Rel? But maybe there's something in them guns that they aren't metal or
Something in them there
something
guns.
in them.
Maybe.
There's gold in them there guns.
Hey, she can't control
Although the
gold.
impression... Yeah. Can't control that.
It is a metal, isn't it? Can't she?
Shit.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader? No.
Fuck those smart little shits. Fuck them.
Although the impression I got from the Samira story, too, was that she just cycles through guns like crazy. But,
Oh, weird.
like, she's always, like, anytime she gets gold from a mission, she's just spending it on new guns and taking the guns out on the new mission. Like,
Borderlands.
what are the passives on this one? That's green. Fuck it. Don't even look at it.
Exactly.
Piltover will fall to me, Swain, not to Noxus. You forget whose money made you what you are, Victor.
Ooh. You know what? Maybe she will be an arcane.
She would be fun.
Maybe they'll keep that.
She'd be a lot of fun.
And then, Zeri. Perhaps I might have been more like you if my parents had survived, poor and weak.
Ooh, shit.
Wow.
I hope she says that in a story.
And with 2 arms.
Yeah, those are all the quotes I had.
Yeah,
Y'all want to hear about some AUs?
I do.
I mean, I can't imagine she's got much, but yeah.
She's got
She's
two
got
of them.
2. She's got blonde bombshell, blonde baddie bitch.
Which is also known as either Iron Firmament or Steel Valkyries. A galaxy scarred by war now attempts to rebuild, but the old wounds remain. Criminals, bounty hunters, mercenaries, and assassins have filled the power vacuum, piloting dangerous combat exosuits with godlike abilities. This one is Admiral Glasc. Ambitious, cunning, cutthroat. These qualities served Admiral Glasc well during the Galactic Civil War. They serve her still, both on the front lines and in the weapons manufacturing industry. As leader of the Royal Space Military's R&D unit, Admiral Glasc will bring order to the galaxy with a firepower unmatched. Whether it's dropping planet-side or traversing distant stars, the universe is her chessboard, and she is the queen.
This is the M. Bison skin, right?
Yeah, this is the M. Bison skin, which... I remember when this shit came out, it was like, okay, well, they went with that, I guess.
I don't know who that is.
He's a Street Fighter character. I made a tweet right when she came out with just pictures of the two of them next to each other. They're indistinguishable.
You know, sometimes Riot does a nice little throwback where they just blatantly steal a fucking thing. And I kind of like it. Fuck it, right?
It's an homage, Mark.
Yeah, right.
Harkening back to the yesteryears. And then we got Neighborhood Nightmare / Fright Night. Bounding across the land on gargantuan frog legs, the Toadstool boarding house attracts lodgers of the most frightful variety. Regardless of where it settles, there's always a monster in need of a place to stay, and Mother Glasc is always there to welcome them into the family with open arms and an endless labyrinth of rooms, ensuring that none are ever turned away. And, that's just the AU quote. This is Fright Night Renata Glasc. Tender loving care of spoons and sugar spice, and all the other things that make a mommy nice. It choked her throat and lungs and showed her virtue's vice. Some chosen children love the dark. That's Mother Glasc's advice.
Ooh. We can get some
I'd let her lure me in.
I like the poetry on the thing. Because it rhymes, so it's a poem. I like it.
Yeah.
Gotta start reading that to Poppy. Beware, Mommy Glass. She's behind you.
She's throwing her hands in her face like, ah.
That's what she would do. Honestly, she's very fascinated by little fingies.
Got some fun facts for you.
So many fun facts.
Ooh, I covered some of them, so we'll.
Oh, okay.
Renata Glasc is voiced by Deborah Wilson,
Nice.
whom also voices Malgurza in the audiobook of The Ruination.
Damn.
Yeah. So the Ruination is a full cast.
Yeah.
The audiobook. So I bought it. That's how I'm gonna read Ruination, Mark.
Okay, I had heard that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
I'll probably just. I mean, I've got the book sitting back there, so that's my method. But I'll be curious to hear how it was. I've heard people really liked it. But Deborah Wilson, damn, she does a lot of stuff. She's done a lot of like video game stuff recently, right? Like she's done a lot of mocap.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I know she was like Mad TV alum, but like she's in
Oh.
I feel like she's done a lot. Am I wrong? Has she not been doing a lot of like video game stuff recently?
No, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
The name didn't sound immediately familiar to you. Know what? I'm going to Google it right now.
Well,
this is happening.
All right.
She was in Over the Hedge. Is that
Maybe,
the top thing
maybe
to come
I'm thinking
up
of
on
someone
IMDb.
else, but I
Oh God.
There is a Mad TV Deborah Wilson,
yeah. At least
but I don't know if that is the same one.
that's what they linked on the
She did
wiki.
a voice in.
So I'm fairly
okay.
certain. It doesn't like.
Oh, okay.
She did a voice in Forspoken, which is recent.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was thinking of.
Dead Space.
Sweet.
Baby Shark's Big Show.
Oh shit,
Ooh.
that's where it's at.
Oh, the Callisto Protocol. That's a
Yeah.
big one that came out recently.
Oh, yeah.
World of Warcraft Dragonflight.
Damn, good for her.
Nice.
Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok. Yeah, damn.
Well, she does a good job with Renata. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
I love
Renata.
Renata's voice.
Renata Glasc being presented with her full name was inspired by famous billionaires who are generally referred to by their full names, such as Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates.
Interesting.
Nice.
Renata Glasc and Verrryyyy were both created as Zon champions as they were originally planned to ship with the Riot X Arcane event, but then they were both delayed. And her gameplay hook was originally to create a dark-themed enchanter.
You know,
And I feel like she was pretty close to Rel, too, so I feel like they were just going through a period where they're like, let's do this, but dark theme.
I was gonna say, didn't they do that
This
for
but
Rel?
evil. Yeah.
Well, then the comparison is a meaningful one to draw. Then, and it's interesting how different they came out in terms of like lore quality. I don't know.
Yeah. Morale, I think, is in slightly more of a morally gray area.
Oh,
I guess.
sure. I mean, she's
Whereas
not
Renata
like
Glasc is for sure a straight villain.
yeah,
but
like Rel's not evil in the way that Renata is.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Maybe one day. Maybe when she's 50 or 80 or
can
however
get
old
there
you think she is.
someday.
The three main inspirations for Renata Glasc were capitalism, cryptocurrency, and COVID-19.
This is really making me feel guilty about my crush on Renata. Y'all gotta.
Why you want to make out with COVID-19? What's
Got a Renata.
There is an erotic novella about that.
Renata Glasc utilizes a variety of chemicals developed by her parents as opposed to Shimmer. I know that when
That's
she came out,
interesting,
there
yeah.
was like, it was pretty close to Arcane time. And they're like, oh, purple chemical, but it's not Shimmer. This is her parents' design.
is that part of why they were delayed? Was to try and distance to make it clear that like, hey, they're not. These aren't Arcane folks.
Maybe.
I assume not. I assume it's like they wouldn't delay things if they didn't have to. But who knows?
Maybe. Who knows? Who can get inside that
Those
head of
wacky
Riot?
right? Yeah, all right.
Her name is Latin in origin and means reborn.
I guess that's just what Renata. Okay, sorry. Like Renata is like a name, so it's like that's just okay.
All of Renata's abilities are references to real-world financial terms.
Oh, yeah.
I did think that was
Got
fun.
leverage, handshake, bailout, loyalty program, and hostile takeover. And Renata isn't inspired by a specific ethnicity or race. She's meant to be a mix of many different ethnicities and cultures growing up in the melting pot of Zon and Piltover.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is just a personal note for me. Her maskless concept art is fucking hot.
Oh, I don't think I saw it. Is it on her page?
It is on the concept art isn't, but the art for the short story has her maskless because in that story she does take the mask off when she starts talking to the Piltovans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her they have a what is it? They do these for some like a Champion Insights where they posted a ton of concept art for it. It's actually the concept art they have is super cool. But like maskless, she looks a lot like Olivia Munn. Those are the vibes I was getting.
Oh, weird. I never. Interesting. Yeah, I can see it. My mind did not go there at all. And yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
But yeah, those were. That's it. That's
Renata.
That's Renata. And if you're looking for that cool shot in her trailer, by the way, her gameplay trailer, it's at 2 minutes where that has like the slow pan up with her dancing and all the bodies are surrounding her.
Cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, very nice for someone who's so new. It's like a nice like ray of hope almost that like, hey, someone who's very new is still getting like some like good stuff. It is. There's a little bit of a cloud cast over that ray of hope when you told me that, hey, the writer left Riot, but it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah. I hope so.
But I think they also wrote. They did the Udyr remake too.
Oh, really?
So we've got another one of their newer stories that we're going to get
forward to.
Did they also write the Leona Diana story? Am I right? I'm pretty sure
I think
they did.
so.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I think so.
That sounds right.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think that's basically our thoughts. Any final thoughts, or are we good?
No. There's not a ton here, but it's all good.
No, but it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd read more.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what else goes on with Renata.
Like, chances are we're never going to get to see like the culmination of her big plan, because that's kind of like an end of days type thing for Piltover and Zon. But like I'd read another just like life in the like day in the life too. That was fun.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Maybe if Zeri.
Unless Arcane Season 2 wants to
Bring in Renata. God, are you gonna the end of episode 1, Renata's just gonna like step into frame. I'm gonna shit my pants. You heard it here, folks. I will literally. No, I don't. Please, not on purpose. Anyway, maybe it'll. You
never
out.
know.
You never know.
It's a crapshoot.
I'm not gonna rule out shitting my pants. Hey.
So was the original intention to do it on purpose?
Yeah. Like a promise. This is who you married and wanted to mother your child. I'm shaping her to be a great.
Right?
Yeah.
Those pants.
I'll put one of her diapers on. That'll be fine. All right. Well, that was Renata. Thank you for listening. And as always, I apologize for the end of the episode because it always something happens. We have a Twitter. It's at Loreheads. We also have a Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Loreheads. John streams on the weekends. He's been doing TFT in the evenings, and then I try to hop in for some ARAMs, which we do with listeners if anybody wants to jump in.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
It has been fun. Yeah. Give me Renata if you get Renata, though. Unless you're a Renata main, then I'll look like a real goober. Please don't. We also have a YouTube. We post these episodes there. John also posts some clips. He also does it on TikTok. We do have a TikTok where you could see
which
little
actually has
clips.
content now. It doesn't just have that one video that we had on there for about a solid year.
Which was really funny and great, and that's our first video.
When you nail it in
So
one,
watch it.
you don't need to put more up.
I mean, that's it. That's all you do.
I'm retiring at the top of my TikTok game.
I heard it.
I
Never
got
lost.
20 views. I couldn't
Never
hope
lost.
for more.
Yeah, hashtag never lost. We also have a Discord. You can. Oh God, the link is in. Oh my God, the link is in the description of the episode. It's also pinned on
Nailed
our
it.
Twitter. Got it in one. We have a Patreon as well. We're about to go record some more Patreon content this weekend.
Woo.
John and Mark are going to play some more Mechs and Minions and then Tellstones, yeah?
Yeah, I got the box right there. It's in that box.
Right there. Hopefully I'll be more awake for it, so we'll see. Because I was really like half asleep last time we recorded that.
I'd add something.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, great. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons. Big Man Gnomes, Chloe Things, King of Hearts, Sejuani's Baby Daddy, Shupa Moustache, and Techno Robert. If you were a poor child in the slums of Zon, I would give you a better place to work than Renata's factory and
good.
wouldn't hold you hostage.
It's a real low bar, but you're hopping over it.
I did it.
Would you still pay them
Cleared it.
experience?
I can give you some really good.
Really help your portfolio.
Yeah. Alrighty. Please be sure to join us next week. We're going back to Shurima, everybody.
Hey.
I can't wait. We're going to talk about the Butcher of the Sands, Renekton.